Hello guys, today I will show you the Forza 7 Motorsport, the demo version. We will talk about the force feedback settings, talk about the new stuff, how the game plays with gamepad, how the game plays with steering wheel, and I will show you the content that is available in the demo. There are 3 cars. There is new Porsche GT2 RS, I think. Yeah. The truck, the Mercedes truck, and the Nissan Nismo GTR, the racing version. I don't know if it's the GTC, if it's the GTC version or something else. So let's start with the basic stuff. We can pick our driver, our avatar, but it's not really well shown in the demo because we can just pick one of the 7 premates. So it's really not a big deal. The game is loading in about 1 minute. 50-55 seconds, something like that. It's on the Xbox One, so maybe it's faster on the PC with SSD. When it comes to the driving with gamepad, it's pretty the same deal with the Forza 6. It's pretty much the same. The car is a bit more stable in Forza 7, in demo at least. I feel there is a little bit more control over the car in the center of the stick. So yeah, it's a plus, I think. I can't really stand the third-person camera. I had big problems with controlling this car on this pretty new track. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of the third-person view and gamepad. However, the gamepad with the cockpit view was really fine. I had no problems with controlling. So for the most of the players, it will be a fun game. I bet, because the gamepad control is there. It's not a problem to control any kind of car with gamepad. As you can see, I'm really not really familiar with gamepad, and as you can see, I can pretty much drive it and drift it. When it comes to the cockpit view, unfortunately we have still the 180 degrees of rotation. There is really nothing new in the cockpit view. We have one new cockpit camera that you will see in a moment. It has absolutely no steering wheel visible. It's a plus for the steering wheel users, I guess. It's a very similar view to the one from the Dirt Rally. So when it comes to the driving with wheel, we have new force feedback settings, quite a few new sliders. We have minimal force, which will set you the tightness of the center forces. So if your wheel is too loose at the center, you can change minimal force feedback slider to the lower value, and the wheel will be stiffer in the center. Finally, there is a understeering setting for the force feedback, which can turn off completely the disappearing of the forces mid-turn. So for all your drifting action, you can just turn it down to the 5%, and your wheel will just counter steer by itself like it should be. It's a really good thing that they actually added it this time, because I mean it's a pretty, how should I say it, it's a AAA title, you know, and the basic settings for the force feedback should be there. and they weren't in Forza 6, because the lack of force feedback settings, especially something as important as the understeering option, where you can just, you know, lack of it will screw your drifting events pretty much every time with wheel. You will have. I had to use it. I had to use low steering rotation with my wheel to be you know, able to drift comfortably on the Forza 6. In the 7 I can just turn this slider down and the wheel will counter steer like it should. So yeah, these two sliders are a big thing in my opinion, because it just improves the game, especially when you have project cars, for example, where there is no problem with force feedback, and Forza has a lot more cars, I don't know if a lot more tracks, but the general amount of cars is I think a bit more interesting than in other games, and such a thing with force feedback can just you know, spoil the game. So it's good that it's there. As far as other settings for the force feedback goes, what is there? Is there something new? There is something called the spring return or something like that. It should act as a spring. You know, the standard thing from the PC sims, where your wheel will counter steer always to the center. You know, like there was a mechanical spring in there, but it doesn't seem to work, at least not for me. There's also a damping settings, and it just dampers the force feedback. I set the damper to like 5%, and I think the value between 5 and 10% is good and low enough to not kill the forces too much. Yeah, and what else is there? I think that's all. Of course, you have the settings for the rotation. The current gameplay is with 720 degrees of rotation, and as you can see, I pretty much have no problems with controlling the Porsche. I have to say that the new sliders, the new options of customization really improved the game for me. I mean, I really like Forza 6, don't get me wrong, but the lack of proper settings were a big turn-off for me, and in Forza 7 it seems that they fixed this. Well, the drifting is much more fun, I think, because the wheel now acts like it should, you know, like for example in Assetto or in other sims. So yeah, this is good. I'm not using sim steering. I think the sim steering in Forza 7 is even worse than it was in Forza 6. It's a bit of a bummer, if you ask me, because, well, I don't know, I just would like to use the sim steering more, but it's just really twitchy. I mean, it's even more twitchy than Forza 6. So yeah, at least for now. Maybe they will change it later on, but for now it's really twitchy. With normal steering it's fine. It's good and it's fun, so I'm using this. Is there something else in the settings? Let me think for a moment. No, I think those were the all settings. So we have the damping, the minimal force for the tightness of the forces in the center. We have degrees of rotation and the understeering option, which will which will prevent the disappearing of the forces. I think this was set to like 100 in Forza 6, and we had no option to turn it off, and that was the biggest problem with force feedback in Forza 6 in my opinion. And I will crash here. Boom. Dead. Cold dead. Okay, so yeah, the force feedback is better. That's the short version. It's not really a revolution. It's more like an evolution of the force feedback from 6, and it's good, you know. I mean, there was not really many wrong things about the Forza 6 force feedback. It was pretty good, apart from the lack of the forces mid-turn sometimes, and that was due to the understeering effect, which is also present in the Sims on PC, but you can turn it off, and in Forza 6 you couldn't, and now you can. So it's great, I think. What about other cars? Because the Porsche was fine. It's really a blast to drive. It's well balanced. It has enough power. It has quite a lot of grip. I had to warm up the tires to really do some slides. Here you can see my settings. I will try the Nissan now, and I want to bring down the degrees of rotation, because the 720 will be too much, I think. And what else? That's all. Okay, I kinda didn't remember what I did there, but it seems I just changed the degrees of rotation. So yeah, now I will try the Nissan. It's I don't know how to say this, because the car is not really similar to the Porsche, but it's not very different either. It's just, you know, a bit harder in the suspension, and has a bit more downforce, and that's it. The really interesting thing about this car and this combination with Nürburgring is really the track itself, because we have weather effects on this combination. The rain will start to fall shortly after the start of the race, and as far as rain goes, finally they removed the how can I say this? How should I say this? The aquaplaning, you know, the puddles of water on the racetrack. It's not there anymore. There are small parts near the curbs, but that's it. There are no big puddles of water in the middle of the track that will kill you every time. So, in my opinion, it's a good thing that they removed it, because I really wanted to drive the full Nürburgring in the Forza 6 in wet, but because of the puddles of water, I just couldn't do it. It was just an annoying experience. So yeah, it's good in my opinion that they removed it. As you can see, the graphics are pretty good. Normally it runs in 60 frames per second, but my capture card is limited to 30, so sorry about that. But yeah, that's what it is, and I think the graphics are really good for what it is. Of course, the Xbox One is not really a fresh hardware, so I think it looks pretty decent for what it is. I had no problems with controlling the Nissan. I mean, the physics, the driving physics in Forza 7 are pretty good, considering I'm using the normal steering and not the sim steering. But you know, it's not bad. I mean, there are other games that are far worse when it comes to driving, and Forza is really pretty decent. I would say that the AI is not really that great. You will see in a moment that one car is going off the track and the McLaren is suddenly braking in the middle of the turn, and I understand there's a yellow flag or something, but this kind of behavior is really bad. I don't think any real racing driver would react like that. I mean, the car was really far in the grass and he just decided to brake mid-corner, so yeah, it's not like that's the only problem with AI. They keep bumping into you without reason really. They don't want to keep the distance from the other cars, and it's pretty annoying because the new bumping sound is just, I don't know, it annoys me. Maybe I'm, you know, too sensitive or something, but it really annoys me, the new bumping sound of the cars. You will hear it on the track, because after the Nissan there's also gameplay with the Mercedes track, and it's just horrible. I mean, even the Mercedes track is horrible by itself because it's heavy, it pretty much drives like a train, it's understeering all the way, and there's literally no oversteering action with the Mercedes. I don't know how to say this in English. Mercedes, let's just leave it at that. It's just really annoying track. That's all I can say. It's boring, and that's why I left it to be the third car in the video, because you can just skip it altogether. And I mean, really, the track is boring. And yeah. And Nissan is fine. I mean, the first two cars, the Nissan, the Porsche, are really great. The driving in the wet is really fun. As you can see, I have a lot of counter-steering action because it's very slippery. Look at this Corvette. Look what he's gonna do now. Braking. I mean, somebody should just work on these waypoints, because it's not like it's the only place where AI is doing things like that. It shouldn't happen. I mean, it's bad, really. Yeah, so the AI is so. I mean, they are not very bad, but they're just average, I guess. People say a lot of bad things about the Gran Turismo AI, but I can't say that Forza AI is much better, to be honest, because they really don't pay attention to you. It's not like the L Factor AI, where they really see where you are and kinda, you know, hold the distance. No, here it just doesn't happen. So AI is so. I can't really say anything about the carry mode, because there's really not a lot of information. The only thing I could find is that there's a big 50 gigabytes patch coming day one to even include the carry mode. I don't know if that's correct, but if it is, then I really don't know why they pushed the game to be the gold without the carry mode. I mean, 50 gigabytes is a lot. It's a big patch, so I don't know. I hope the carry mode will be pretty cool. But I can't really say much about it, except the weather. It's supposed to be variable weather in the carry mode, which is not really a surprise, but you know, it is. It will be there. Yeah, and here's the track. And the problem with the track is, as I said, the track is fucking boring. I mean, I'm sorry for swearing, but I really hope that this track will have a lot of oversteering action, that it will have enough of power and torque to you know, drift in the corners, and it just doesn't have anything. It's just freaking heavy white train like car with, I don't know. I mean, I remember playing the, what was it called? There is a simulation with tracks on the PC by Reza. It's Formula Track, I think. It's called Formula Track. And the tracks there are amazing to drive. I mean, they are very fun. They are heavy, but you have a lot of torque, and it works. And in Forza 7, I mean, I don't know what they wanted to do with this track. It's completely boring. The only oversteering I get from this track is when I pull the handbrake, and it will happen in the second lap, because I was too bored, and because somebody is bumping into me, or over the curb. I just lose some traction, but it's only for a split second, and then there is grip again. So yeah, I don't like this track. And that's all I can say about it. Yeah, and what I think about the demo overall, I think it's pretty good. I mean, there are some improvements that people asked for, like the force feedback improvements. The graphics are, well, they are not worse than the 6, so well, there's that. The weather is improved, because there are no puddles of water in the middle of the track anymore. I still wonder why they did that in the 6, to be honest. It was really a bad idea to do something like that. But hey, now it's fixed, so it's good. The HUD, the HUD is okay. I mean, you can see how it looks like. It's not bad. The sound for the drifting meter that you could hear in the beginning when I was driving with pad is pretty annoying, so I would probably change that, but it's not really a big deal. You can turn it off, and I did turn it off for the steering wheel part. And yeah, the Thrustmaster was working without problems. The stock force feedback settings are pretty bad, in my opinion, because they don't really show the new available settings. You know, it doesn't give you the raw force feedback effects. So you have a lot of damper, you have the understeering from the Forza 6 in the standard settings. This is not good. I think they should really pay more attention to the standard force feedback settings, because a lot of people don't have time to go around the internet and search for the correct settings. And if they have some kind of pricey equipment from, for example, from Fanatec, it's even worse, because the Fanatec has its own settings, the game has its own settings. You have new sliders that weren't there in the previous Forza, and it's not like you have you know, comprehensive manuals now for the games. You don't have that. You can just go into the forums and read a bunch of stuff written by God knows who, and there's just, you know, it's a problem for most of people, because why should you go around the net and search for settings? It's just counterintuitive, you know. So yeah, I think there's just lack of proper settings in Forza, the standard settings. And here I wanted to show you the pit, how the pitting looks like. And the amazing animation of the crew. and it's not found. I mean, there is no animation. Well, that's a bummer. But hey, at least I'm second. So yeah, that's how the demo looks like. As I said, it's pretty good. I like this. I had a lot of fun with drifting. The new settings for the wheel are really good. The pad driving is improved. It's not really much different from the Forza 6, but it's better. Yeah, I wonder about this driver cup. I hope the career mode will be great and will be big, because the driving seems to be okay. So yeah, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this little episode, and if you like this, then like the video. If not, then leave me a comment and tell me what you did like and what you didn't like. So yeah, that's all, and see you next time.